Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Audio Huddle. It's going to be a very exciting and fun-filled episode because we are fun guys and we've adopted the Kawhi Leonard method. Now we're boosting. Yo, baby, let's get it. Raptors in 5. We're going to be talking about game fucking 4 of the Toronto Raptors against Golden State Warriors and our big fucking win. So get ready to listen to a lot of fucking circle jerking by Tommy and I. Anything else?
Let's go Raptors!
Pop, 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 pop. Let's go Raptors! Pop, 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 pop.
So, Eugene, where did you watch Game 4 last night?
So in order to be a little bit more frugal, I decided to watch it in my basement with my boys. Now, we still ended up getting wings, but it was at a local spot called Wow Wings. It's not Wild Wings, it's Wow, W-O-W. It's a Tamil run wing spot. They make great wings at a fantastically frugal price. So we just brought it over and watched it at my crib. How about you?
Yeah, I did the exact same thing. I just invited a couple of boys over, and we just watched the game at my house. We spent a lot of money every game prior at the bars. I think I ate so many chicken wings and drank so much beer that I need to go on a diet after this whole experience. The playoffs is definitely not good for my health, but it's great for the Toronto economy.
It is. It's great for the economy, and it's not good for chickens. How many chickens do you think we've murked? As not even as a country, but as a city during this playoff run.
Well, think about it. Everyone's ordering 1 pound, and there's a game maybe once, 2 or 3 times a week, and there are some fanatics that watch every playoff game. So we've probably killed millions of chickens.
Facts. You know what? They were the sacrificial lambs, not DeMar.
Well, it's also kind of like the McDonald's thing where they kind of made a deal where if you hit 12 three-pointers, they get free fries for a day. There was a report that came up that over $6 million of fries have been basically lost in revenue because of the promotion. And that is because McDonald's agreed to this promotion prior to us signing Kawhi Leonard and Danny Green.
Exactly, baby. They weren't expecting all of this three-point shots to hit. We're low-key Splash Bros out the East. Not really, though.
Yeah, and speaking back on to the whole economy thing, like there's a lot of good brand opportunities right now. McDonald's Canada actually changed their golden color to white to kind of support that, they took the golden state out of the McDonald's logo. And it's just great to see how all of the Canada teams and all of the Canada companies are basically coming together and capitalizing on this opportunity.
Now, the one brand that I don't see capitalizing on it the most is actually New Balance. I'm very surprised that they haven't really taken full advantage of all this Kawhi hype right now, especially in the Toronto area, and just completely taken over the city. Because this city could become a loyal New Balance city had they done the right moves. I'm still waiting for a board man gets paid t-shirt.
Yeah, they're really behind with the times in terms of what is viral. I'm sure if Nike was signed to Kawhi Leonard, or Kawhi Leonard would sign to Nike, there would have been like a handful of sneakers already coming out, a lot of fun guy and board man gets paid, jerseys even, t-shirts, apparels. But New Balance is trying to keep with that mentality, kind of like the Supreme mentality where everything's just limited edition. It doesn't help them. The money that goes to like the resellers, they don't see it. So I don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, especially from one of these large companies like New Balance, it doesn't make sense for them to keep things limited stock. Like, this is the hottest player in the NBA right now. Capitalize on this. But you know what? Good thing the hottest player in the NBA capitalized on game number 4, baby. Kawhi was hot, but honestly, everyone else was hot on our team.
Yeah, it's great to see that even though we had a really terrible first half, they took it one possession at a time like they always did throughout the series and ended up beating the Warriors 105-92. They kept the Warriors under 100 points, and that was the first time ever in the whole playoff series that Golden State has fell under 100 points. Actually, to be more precise, it's the first time in 29 games.
Yeah, so it's not a rumor or joke anymore. We are a very, very phenomenal defensive team, and it goes to show we were able to completely shut down players. We were able to shut down the future MVP Giannis. What makes you think we're not going to be able to shut down the Golden State Warriors? Now, in you saying that the Raptors were playing horrible in the first half, I almost kind of disagree. The first quarter, for sure, we were playing garbage. Kawhi Leonard basically scored all of the points, right? He had 14 points in just that quarter alone, right? However, in the second quarter, it was it was a pretty close battle. We were still trailing, but we were starting to pick up our steam. And I think right at the start of the third quarter, it clicked, especially when Ibaka did that massive play where he blocked grabbed his own board, outlet pass, and then shot, and then drained a three. That completely changed the momentum of the game.
Yeah,
and we went on crazy runs.
Yeah, for sure. I think even before then, I think right at the start of the three, Kawhi Leonard hits 2 3-pointers, and this is what Fred VanVleet called it, the 2 fuck you 3-pointers, to get it back into momentum. And it's actually great to see that your star player was able to come out of halftime stronger than ever and just drain 2 threes right in front of Draymond Green's face.
Mm-hmm. And it's also important to note that we beat the Warriors without an excuse that Steph Curry or Klay Thompson were playing bad. Klay and Steph both dropped 27 and 28 points, like collectively each, right? And Klay was playing fucking fantastic. I would say he went low-key nuclear.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive the fact that Klay Thompson is such a great off-ball shooter that he doesn't have to really build his own shot. He needs someone to pass it to him. Obviously, you can see that he's still a little bit injured. I think he airballed twice in the game, so obviously he's not at 100%, but there's no excuse that the Splash Brothers weren't able to, it wasn't their fault, but obviously they need KD, man.
They do, but in the words of Thanos, the Raptors are inevitable.
Yes, and it's great to hear that. It's actually kind of surreal. As a Raptor fan for so long, I think both of us can agree that it just feels so weird that we're actually on the winning side for once.
Yeah, it was a certain point in our lives where probably you felt it too, but it was like almost embarrassing to be a Raptors fan because you were the ass end of every joke, right? Mm-hmm. In terms of NBA jokes. And if you were to go on any sort of Raptors forum or basketball forum, you were a joke. Oh, yeah, the bad Euro team. Oh, look, it's a team full of white guys. Oh, shit, you guys have Andrea Bargnani. You guys tried to make Hito Turkoglu a star. All of this, plus all the choker, trash bros, LeBronto, all of this has been erased.
Yeah, it's actually kind of comforting, and I feel like it's the hardest road, right? We have to go through these years of being the butt of the joke to end up being as passionate as we are, because no matter how bad our team went or how mediocre our team is, the Toronto fans never really derailed from it, and it's great to see that the city's finally coming together. Obviously, our last episode, it was meant for bandwagons, and we fully encourage everyone in the whole country of Canada to become a bandwagon, because this is potentially the first opportunity that a Canadian team will win one of the major 3 sports. We haven't won anything in baseball, hockey, or basketball since 1993.
Yes. So, guys, we should really get behind this. And I think everyone is getting behind this. Mm-hmm. If we do actually win on Monday, I am almost certain it's going to be like an unofficial national holiday for everyone across the country, because it's going to be too wild.
Yeah, for sure. I think everyone's going to take a day off on Tuesday, or it'll be the least effective work day in the history of Toronto.
Oh, yeah.
In the last 20 years.
I've already told my boss I'm not coming in Tuesday, and he was hesitant. He's a huge ball fan too, because he was like, yo, I don't really want to even show up to work either. And I was like, I'm not coming to work. He was like, we'll see. I'm like, dude, listen, honestly, I'm not showing up. And he's like, I understand. And he's like, and this is what he told me. He's like, you know what? I'm in my 30s, but you're still relatively young. You're a youth, so you need to hold it down for us. I'm like, you know what, boss? I'll take one for the team.
Yeah, that's a great boss mentality as well. And so I guess in terms of talking about boss mans, last night a lot of guys really stepped up. And it wasn't just Kawhi Leonard. Obviously, Kawhi really stepped it up in the third quarter and out-warriored the Warriors at their own game. But we got to give credit to guys like Fred VanVleet and Serge Ibaka.
Can we give a quick shout out to Fred VanVleet first before we actually talk about Serge? Because I think Serge was the second best player on the court for the Raptors yesterday. But let's give a quick shout out to Fred VanVleet, playing only 28 minutes, 56 seconds, scored 8 points, 4 rebounds, 6 assists, and lost a tooth and received stitches.
7 stitches.
Yes, 7 stitches.
Yeah. That was actually a heavy elbow.
Yeah,
the fact
by
that,
Sean Livingston.
Yeah, Livingston just came down. Obviously, it was no, malice. It wasn't intentionally, driven, but it sucked to see, and it looked painful as hell.
Oh, yeah. Right under the eye. When I first saw it, I was like, fuck, this thing looks like it ripped off the bottom eyelid or something. But no, it's just like a typical nasty elbow, right? Elbows are pretty sharp. If you watch a lot of MMA fights, for those who follow MMA, I don't think there's a lot of you guys, but hey, if you are, shout out to you. You'll know how deadly elbows are, and that was a very clean elbow right to the face. Speaking of which, I actually got elbowed this week.
Yeah, I saw a picture of that. What happened?
I was at a mosh pit, and actually it was during the time of game number 3. Shout outs to Bones for actually consistently stopping the concert to and letting us know what the score was. But yeah, he was like, all right, guys, we're going to make a wall of death. If you don't know what that is, the crowd splits in half and you run into each other very violently. And I'm starting to run, and all of a sudden, some crazy, really skinny white guy just flies out into the air and just elbows me square in the forehead.
Did he apologize afterwards?
No. I think he was high off meth or something. He was so out of it.
So, and you guys do this for fun?
Yes, I paid to do that.
Okay.
Well, then again, Fred VanVleet also technically got paid to get elbowed.
Well, you know what? If I was making that much money, elbow me too. I'll lose 2 teeth.
Yeah, exactly. He lost a tooth, gained a son. Let's get it, Fred VanVleet Sr. Now, let's talk about Serge Ibaka, because I think this is his revenge tour. Because anytime I see Serge play, I'm like comforted now, because I know he's going to do some massive freak athletic shit, and it's going to remind me of OKC level Serge. And you know what? This is exactly what he did yesterday.
Yeah, it's crazy to see that. We all thought that, Serge Ibaka is now falling out of his prime, and this is probably his last big contract before he becomes just like a veteran minimum or like a 5-10 mil player just on a supporting team. But no, he's actually going backwards. I feel like he's getting back into his prime as he ages. He's like aging like fine wine right here.
Yeah, it's because all that healthy bull penis he's eating. On how hungry are you?
Yeah, for sure. And fun fact is that, Serge Ibaka is still undefeated when he scores more than 10 points or over. So right now he's 8-0 in the playoffs.
Yeah, when he made those free throws and he got to 11 points, I was screaming at the TV, it's like, we're winning, baby. We're freaking winning. Because they're like, well, Serge just scored 11 points. And you know what happens when Serge scores 10, right? So I was like, yep, that's very true. And you know what? He didn't score 10. He scored 20 this time.
Yeah, not only 20, but he had 20 points, 4 rebounds, 2 blocks on 9 of 12 shooting in 22 minutes.
If that's not efficiency, I don't know what that is. But I think overall, everyone's learning how to be efficient through the Kawhi Leonard method. Kawhi Leonard has taught us one thing. Well, he taught us a lot, but the most important thing he taught us is to be efficient.
Yeah, and the fact that even though after the game, it should be a time of celebration. They're 1 game away from, having their first title for a lot of these guys, with the exception of Danny Green, Kawhi Leonard, and Patrick McCall. Everyone would be getting their first chip, and it'd be the first for Canada. It's a big celebratory moment, but no, they're walking down, no smiles, all business.
Yeah, and you know what? I really like that. I like the growth. I like the maturity. This is really giving all of the guys on this team that mentality where there's no point celebrating until it really matters, right? Because this is still just a win. This is not a series win, right? This doesn't close off the series. This doesn't mean you win the whole thing. And I like that because it doesn't boost their egos. Now, I'm not saying anything that the Warriors had boosted egos when they were up 3-1 against the Cleveland Cavs, but I would be insane to say a little bit of ego didn't affect the way they played during those last 3 games, right? Mm-hmm. Against the Cleveland Cavaliers. And I like that they're adopting this mentality from Kawhi. Am I saying that I like emotionless guys? No. But what I'm saying is I like guys who know exactly when to zero in, when it really matters. And it shows how hungry we are, This is a team full of guys who have been completely cucked during their prime days, during their playoff runs. And these guys have all run very deep. But none of these guys, besides the ones that you've mentioned, and one of them barely even played, has a chip. Marc Gasol, consistently very deep going into the playoffs with the Memphis Grizzlies, never got a chip, right? Never has even gone to a finals. Serge Ibaka lost 4-1 against the LeBron Miami Heat when he was with the OKC Thunders, and always been a consistently great team that have always made deep runs, right? Kyle Lowry even. He's made all the way to conference finals to only get LeBron. So you have all these veterans that have gotten years of playoff experience, but have never tasted the nectar, the juice of the finals, and they want to savor every second of it. And this is what I love right now.
Yeah, for sure. And on top of that, the fact that you have on the other spectrum, that the Golden State Warriors are probably the perfect team to make a comeback as well. And before it was 33-0 when a team goes 3-1. And then you've seen LeBron come back from a 3-1 lead. Now, if it was to happen again, it would be a super team like Golden State Warriors to be able to pull something off like that. So it's very great to see that Toronto is very zoned in, like you mentioned before, and being able to celebrate when it's necessary to celebrate. And you don't celebrate until you see that Larry O'Brien trophy.
Yeah, and I think it's also a factor that, again, the 3-1, and it only recently happened in the history of the NBA. So that reminder is still there. So, and it's telling us, okay, guys, don't ease up, because it doesn't fucking matter, because they could Cleveland us, or they can Golden State Warrior us in the conference final, right? per se. So again, this is really good influence on guys like Pascal, Fred VanVleet, Norman Powell, OG Anunoby, who are in the younger cast, right? And who'll be taking over the future of this franchise. And I just want to mention one small fact in terms of the 3 champions we have. If we win the chip, Patrick McCall will be the first ever 3-peat championship winner since the Shaq and Kobe days. Now, am I saying he's like Kobe? It's kind of up for you to decide.
Yo, McCall is actually a GOAT. People were making fun of him, saying like you gave up $5 million and 2 years to sit comfortably and actually play some decent minutes with Golden State Warriors. Because you see Golden State Warriors, they're so stretched out that even McKinney is playing, Looney is playing. So the fact that McCall, if he stayed, he would have had some solid minutes as well. Yeah. Probably more minutes than in the Raptors. But no, he took a pay cut, $4 million to be precise, a little bit more, to win a chip.
Now, if this is not 69D chess, I don't know what is. He predicted already that the Raptors would win the whole thing. And you know what? He's an honorary Canadian for that one.
Yeah, for sure. And on top of that, don't forget, Jeremy Lin will be the first Asian basketball player to ever win a chip. If we win, of course, we're jumping ahead of ourselves in terms of predicting that the Toronto Raptors will win. But when we win, Jeremy Lin will be the first Asian basketball player to play in the finals. We've had winners in the past, but they're bench warmers. Like the guy in the Suns. I mean, the guy in the Lakers. Why did I say Suns? Man.
Yeah, I don't know. Because his name was Sun.
Sun something, yeah. But that guy, he didn't play 1 second in the Lakers, but he was on the bench and he won a chip. But Jeremy, he played a total of 51 seconds. And that was the most beautiful 51 seconds ever.
And don't forget that team turnover. Don't take away what he did. Don't take away the impact of Jeremy Lin. That one team turnover was the closer, baby.
It was to show that Toronto has respect. Obviously, any other team, they would probably take that final shot because it was 30-something seconds left. You know, that's an appropriate time to still take a shot and just be okay with it. But Jeremy Lin was like, nope, rolled up his ball sleeves and dribbled it out, baby.
Like a true champion. Now, speaking of another potential record breaker, when the Toronto Raptors win and Kawhi Leonard inevitably gets the Finals MVP accolade, he will be the first ever player to receive that in both the Eastern Conference and the Western Conference.
That is totally powerful.
That is so powerful. So powerful, in fact, that he should definitely stay with us.
Yeah, I think he's actually going to stay with us. We can talk about that a little bit more later. But before moving on, I just want to give credit to Nick Nurse.
Yes,
he has been a phenomenal coach and one of the more versatile, being willing to adapt whenever it is needed. In Game 3, you may have seen at the end of the game that he had his head down, his eyes were watery, and the reason for that is because it was Nick Nurse's mother's birthday that day, and she passed earlier this year. I think she was 95 years old, and she had about 9 children, and Nick Nurse was the youngest of the 9, and growing up, she watched all of his games, and on top of that, before she passed, she said that one day she wanted to see Nick win a ring, so that meant a lot to the Toronto Raptors, to Nick Nurse, and I think that was definitely something that they're all fighting for as well. Nick Nurse, he is one of the guys who, once again mentioned, very versatile. Even though they're ahead, he's always playing with the lineups. He's always playing with rotations. In Game 3, 10, well, even before then, in the first half, he was like 3-4-5 or 3-4-6. He should have stayed and started, but instead, he decided to sit Danny Green out and play Fred instead. And obviously, we're like, why are you benching Danny? He had a superior first half, but it paid off because Fred ended up going off, and that was crazy as well. And in Game 3, you can see that Kawhi Leonard, he wasn't having sit Kawhi down for over 5 minutes in the third quarter and played without loud. That's ballsy. And that's something that, you know, Nick Nurse has been pretty keen on doing, which is always adjusting even when they're ahead. Because if they keep comfortable, Kerr might be able to adapt and take over.
Yeah, and what is so good about Nick Nurse is not just like his ability to adapt, but also his background as a coach, right? He hasn't for the NBA, he's coached for college, and he's also coached for the Euro Leagues. So he has a lot of experience and understanding that a lot of things can be utilized in order to win a game. And it's so much more refreshing compared to Dwayne Casey. Now, I'm not trying to discredit Dwayne Casey as a coach. You know, he is the one who developed the culture within the Raptors, almost like the family within it. However, he was very rigid in his lineups, which is something that was fucking painful to watch sometimes. where no matter what, it was the same plays being drawn up. No matter what, you needed a big man. And to be honest with you, if we have the same team right now with Dwayne Casey as coach, I don't think we would ever be able to play small ball like how we did against the Warriors.
We wouldn't even get to this opportunity against the Warriors. We would lose to probably the Sixers if we had Dwayne Casey.
No, we would. And Orlando Magic would probably have taken another game.
Yeah, for sure. It's absolutely, I have no hope in Dwayne Casey's coaching because times are changing and Casey's pretty much an old head and he loves going with proper rotation minutes. Like he mentally gives these guys like 20, 30 minutes. And then even if you're performing horribly, he would just like let you play it out and he won't call timeouts and he rarely makes any adjustments at all. Never forget that one time where we got shat on by Cleveland because we had one guy like Tristan Thompson just play the same position and same play over and over again. I think if Dwayne Casey was actually somehow playing this matchup, Curry and Draymond would be able to hit that pick and roll that destroyed Portland over and over again, no problem at all.
Yeah, which is why Nick Nurse is so refreshing because he's able to adapt. He's actually able to learn and constantly make things change because although let's say an adjustment doesn't necessarily work, it throws off Kerr. It throws off the entire team because, it's a new lineup that they don't know either, right? So it's a really nice X factor that I'm really enjoying as Nick Nurse, for Nick Nurse as a coach for us, and I hope he stays for a lot longer and he, grows our team even more because we do have a lot to grow, right?
Yeah, for sure. And in terms of Nick Nurse, too, one of the examples of how versatile he is that yesterday, Ibaka and Gasol played at the same time on the court, and that was the first time that they actually both played in the whole series. Sure, they only played for 1 minute, and we were up too, but I wouldn't say that play definitely, changed everything or really even helped. But the fact that he was able to experiment during such a detrimental time, that he's not afraid to keep testing and just A/B test until something works out.
Mm-hmm. Now, let's change gears a little bit because we've been talking about the Raptors a lot, and I do love talking about the Raptors, but we should also take it from the Golden State perspective and what some of the factors are going into this game, right? So this is a team right now that, although I don't want to give them any excuses, is an injury-riddled team. DeMarcus Cousins I can't tell if he's just shit now or if it's because of his injury, but DeMarcus Cousins is not performing to what he was doing last year with New Orleans Pelicans prior to the injury. Andre Iguodala is a little bit injured. I'm the one that would argue that he's also a lot older now and the age is showing. Klay Thompson is coming off of an injury on his ankle, I believe.
It was his calf. I think it was a hamstring strain. So,
okay.
Yeah.
So same thing as when I was Naruto running.
Yes.
Yeah, so exactly. You don't make a full recovery within a day. Kevin Looney was out for what was initially a collarbone injury. Turns out it was a rib injury.
Fake news, bro.
Fake news indeed. And KD is out with also a calf injury.
It's probably an Achilles injury, but they're claiming it's a calf, so he can try and come back earlier.
Yeah, we'll go back to KD real soon, but I think all things considered, this is an injury-riddled team. However, this is still a team that was able to eliminate LeBron James in 2015. This is still a championship caliber team, and they still have one of the greatest, not one of the greatest shooter of all time in Stephen Curry, and one of the most versatile ball players of all time in Draymond Green, and they still weren't able to produce.
Yeah, it kind of sucks, but sucks to suck.
Yeah, sucks to suck.
It's like the fact that they ran basically the same team, and they added only Kevin Durant and some other guys. They're constantly getting better with star power, but they're not really changing up how the game is played, and I think Raptors really capitalize on that, on the fact that they're running with the same team, same plays, same play style for so long. But you can't fault them for that. They had so much success. They're in the finals 5 times in a row. That something has to be working. And it's kind of cocky in a way where Draymond Green comes out saying, oh yeah, we're going to win game 4, we're going to win game 5, and then we're going to take it home to the Bay and win game 6 and celebrate from there. Bitch, you lost game 4. And you're going to lose game 5 too. So I can get why they're so confident in themselves and just saying we just got to play our game and being able to, and we're going to have to win. We just need to win one game. I'm still waiting for that one game, man. You're not winning anything. So I think I can't fault them for being cocky, being confident in themselves because they have the track record to show it. But they're being exposed by it. And there's no excuse for the fact that, injury, given, take, or whatever, you're still an all-star team. It's not like you take Portland and you injured Damian Lillard, you're fucked now. You take Jazz and you injured Mitchell and you're fucked. You take out KD and you still got Steph, Klay, Cousins, Draymond,
Andre Iguodala.
Yeah, the finals MVP. Your team is still stacked as shit. So I don't give any sympathy. And I think it's kind of funny that the rest of America is cheering for the Toronto Raptors. And the only people that are cheering for Golden State are the bandwagons and people who actually live in the Bay Area.
And apparently Hawaii.
Why Hawaii?
I don't know. I guess they're both kind of chilled, relaxed states. They have a lot of common similarities in what the cities look like. You know, beachy areas. I don't know. But back to the Golden State Warriors and game number 4. Now, I was very impressed by Klay Thompson's return. You know, I was telling a lot of people that Klay Thompson's not going to be 100%. He's going to play like, you know, pretty subpar. I wouldn't say he would play shit, but he's going to play subpar compared to what he normally is. But actually, he went low-key nuclear. Now, pulling up the stats. Okay, Klay Thompson shot 28 points, right? 6 for 11 three-point shooting off of 11 for 18 field goals attempts. Now, that's really fucking good. And defensively, I say he was really, really good. He handled Kyle Lowry. He held him down in the first half of the game. Mm-hmm. And he was able to make several big three-pointers. Now, at that time, in hindsight, they were definitely monumental shots because they actually shifted momentum during the game. You know, it's a shame that, you know, his shots... Well, it's not a shame, but, you know, sucks to suck that those shots didn't actually accumulate to anything because the rest of his team was playing like absolute garbage.
Yeah,
Steph Curry dropped 27 points, but that's off of 8 free throws. And his three-point shooting has been actually absolute trash the entire series. Yesterday, he dropped 2 for 9 3-point. You never hear that kind of stuff happen for Steph Curry, right? Especially consistently.
Yeah, it just feels weird that you see Curry really take over and score, 47 points in game 3, and he was shooting like absolutely phenomenal. And all of a sudden you come and you see that the team is down again. Why aren't you giving Curry more shots? Sure, he's shooting 9 for 22, but I'd rather have Curry shoot those 6 shots that Quinn Cook shot. Yeah, like Quinn Cook didn't shoot shit yesterday. And you had McKinney shooting 4 shots. That's 4 shots too much. Just let Curry and Klay try to take over and try to get rhythm again if you were the Golden State Warriors. And Cousins, man, I don't even want to talk about Cousins. He's been absolutely garbage for the Golden State Warriors for basically the whole series. He had 1 good game and 3 really bad games. And yesterday's game, he played 15 minutes, and it was one of the worst performing 15 minutes ever. Like, he had 6 points, he had 4 turnovers, and he had 2 personal fouls and 4 rebounds.
Yeah, it's complete garbage. Now, was there an explanation on why he left early?
I don't know. Maybe he's just so shit that he just had to leave.
Well, the problem is, because he has no vertical, it's very easy for Marc Gasol to abuse him in the paint. And let's just be honest, Marc Gasol's a lot smarter than DeMarcus Cousins.
Well, we also got to give Cousins the benefit of doubt that the fact that he fucked up his leg twice. Mm-hmm. So he's never going to be the same guy that he used to be, especially in the Kings. But the real loser of all of this is DeMarcus Cousins.
Yeah, he gave up a hefty potential salary, in order to take a cut and win a chip. Now, instead, he just took a cut and is not going to win a chip either.
Yeah, and on top of that, I don't think this is the season that he tried to, he played out for himself. He signed with the Golden State Warriors for a $5 million 1-year rental contract. And the whole goal of that is that he wants to be able to speed recovery, come back in January, be able to be phenomenal and outperform, and be able to showcase himself in a winning team and be able to win a ring at the end of it. Instead, he came back a little bit later than expected, didn't play too well at all. He re-injured himself, and then now he's playing like shit, so no one's going to want to sign him, and he's not going to win a ring as well.
Yeah. You know what? Karma's a bitch. This is what you get for joining the hype train of the Golden State Warriors. Let's not forget that when we all heard the news that DeMarcus Cousins signed with the Golden State Warriors, it broke the internet for NBA fans. Everyone went up in arms and said, what the fuck?
Yeah, like, what the fuck indeed? You already are torn from the fact that, KD the Snake joins a 73-9 team, and then all of a sudden, a few years later, you have DeMarcus Cousins, one of the best centers in the league, joining basically the champs. It's horrible.
Yeah.
It's bad for basketball, but it's great now just seeing them basically fall apart.
What I like now is that, a lot of these players are moving in the sense that are moving to teams and building these super teams, right? With OKC, Russell Westbrook and Paul George. Who else would there be? Obviously, the Golden State Warriors. Boston was trying to make that move too with Anthony Davis. LeBron James is also trying to bring presence out of the meme team. A lot of people are trying to develop super teams, but it's so poetic that Kawhi Leonard, as a single superstar, led by fantastic role players and a couple potential all-stars, is able to bring down this Goliath of a team.
Yeah. I think on a different note, too, I want to talk about Looney for a little bit. I thought
Why
Looney
do
was.
you want to talk about Looney?
I thought he was gonna be out for basically the rest of the season because
That's what I thought too.
they
Yeah.
were saying that it was a hefty collarbone injury, and then all of a sudden, the day before, it's like, oh no, just kidding. He just had fractured ribs or whatever, and he's good to go. And then I think the doctor said that it was actually just a pain tolerance thing. So him playing is not going to make his injury worse. It's just about how painful it is. So what I get out of that is Steve Kerr going, if he dies, he dies.
Oh, no, I agree. This team is pretty stretched out. They have no one that they can actually confidently play. And Kevin Looney was actually pretty key in their game. I mean, he shot pretty well, 5 for 8, right?
Well, yeah, there's only so many big men in the Golden State Warriors, and you definitely don't want to play Jerebko.
Yeah, you really don't want to play Jerebko. But, I mean, then again, I'd rather play the piece of shit Andrew Bogut than Looney. Did you see the shove he did?
Yeah,
what the fuck was that?
And there was no call at all. So if you guys missed it, Siakam was trying to get a loose ball, right?
Yep.
And then Draymond fell on his leg, and then when he was trying to get it, Draymond held onto his leg, and then Bogut shoved him to fall on the ground, and that could have been something worse.
Yeah, and there was literally a referee looking at that happen, yet no call.
It's always been questionable calls both ways. Of course, Game 3 officiating was really bad for the Warriors. Game 4 has been
It was questionable back and forth.
questionable back and forth as well. But you know what? You just can't. I think it's come to a conclusion. Everyone can agree that refs suck in general. Some refs suck more than others, like Tony Brothers.
Yep.
And Mark Davis as well.
Yep, and Culper, the girl one.
Yeah. So there's no winning. Officiating is never going to be fair. So we just got to deal with it and roll with the punches.
Yeah, and one final thing to talk about is, I think this is kind of an overarching thing to talk about, but fans leaving early at the Oracle Arena in the previous game. So, if you don't know, the Golden State Warriors have historically been known as having one of the loudest and rowdiest fans in the NBA, and that's because these guys are diehard fans for a historically terrible team. And these guys love the Warriors for the Warriors, not because that they were a winning team, but because of, that's their team. That's their hometown team that they got to cheer for, right? But due to the years of success that they've had, a lot of the arena tickets are being sold off to corporate heads or corporate guys, right? Suits, essentially. These suits are not diehard fans who really care about the Warriors and will cheer their lungs out for Steph Curry or Klay Thompson. The moment that they start underperforming, they just say, what the fuck? And they get up and leave. And, you saw that early in the game, right? I'm sorry, not early in the game, but near the end of the game. You don't just sit there. You don't just leave and walk away from the guys who gave you 3 championships, right? Especially in their first time where they finally show weakness. No, you should just cheer your heart out, right? And this is also coming off the fact that this is possibly the final game played in the Oracle Arena. So it's almost historical. This is the final game. Won 3 chips, and you're gonna disrespect the franchise by just getting up and leaving. Now, I don't like the Warriors for very obvious reasons, right? But what I don't like is these people that disrespect the players, right? Disrespect franchises, because at the end of the day, these guys still put their heart and soul and body and work into the game, right? And you shouldn't disrespect a team like that. Now, if you're getting blown out in a regular season game by, let's say, and you're like the Hornets and you're playing against the Warriors, I get it. You're trying to save time on traffic. But this is a finals game, man. Don't do that shit.
Yeah, they also gave the opportunity for the Toronto Raptor fans who were at the Oracle Center to end the potential dynasty and all the history with "Let's go Raptors, let's go Raptors." So that's absolutely sad, and it's kind of cringy. And it's probably a terrible ending to a very monumental, historical stadium of the Oracle Center. But hopefully, Chase Center, it's going to be a new start. But don't get me wrong, San Francisco is full of the corporate heads, full of the rich guys. The real fans are the ones who are at home at the bars enjoying the game. And there are real Warrior fans out there.
Yeah, I'm not saying there aren't. It's sad that they're pushed out, right? That these prices are so expensive that you've priced out the true fans. Now, I was so happy when I saw that as all these big wigs left, the Toronto Raptors fans started creeping in, and you took over the Oracle Arena with Let's Go Raptors. And, that's probably the very last chant being shouted out at the Oracle Arena, and it's not even for the Warriors.
I think that's just the nature of everything, though, in terms of, the ones who have money enjoy the greatest moments. Because in Toronto, it's the exact same, right? Tickets for the finals games are stupid. Like, nosebleeds are $1,200 starting. Like, some are even USD. And if you want to have a 100 level seat, it's anywhere from 2 to 4K for, like, the further back seats. And then near the front, it's like $8,000. Courtside seats go up to $75,000. It's stupid.
It is. However, what's nice about the Toronto Raptors crowd is because I'm not saying that we're exempt from all this, because let's be honest, if we are a dynasty team like the Warriors, where we've shown a history of winning, right? Obviously people will get kind of complacent to that. We'll start building expectations and we'll not have the same level of like ferocity that we have right now, right? But luckily we're a hungry team. We're a team that's been consistently deprived, mocked, humiliated by Americans, right? That this is finally our chance to cheer. So everybody across the nation, no matter how rich or poor you are, is screaming their lungs out and showing 100% of their support and heart for the Toronto Raptors. And I love it. And, it also helps that the Jurassic Park is so accommodating. And hell, even downtown Markham around here, they're putting up big screens to show the public the game. We got games being played in Halifax. We got games playing in Mississauga.
Yeah, I totally agree with you as well. And I think regardless of what happens, as long as we win, even if we don't win, Toronto will understand and appreciate the fact that this is the greatest run of all time. And it's just so surreal that this is happening to us. I was expecting this to happen maybe 20, 30 years down the line. I kind of like had this Toronto mentality where we just weren't going to win anything for a very long time. But Toronto Raptors, Masai, you are a god. You have helped us, pick the right pieces, made the difficult decisions to really bring out the best of the Toronto Raptors.
Yeah, Masai for greatest GM.
For sure. He's definitely the greatest president, greatest GM, whatever the hell he is. He is. Masai is the Messiah.
Yes. Shout out to Bobby, too.
Yeah. So I guess just to conclude our podcast, we want to just break down the series of Toronto and Golden State one last time with some of these facts, so you can tell your friends and your office workers of how great and how deserving we are. Because think about it this way. All you hear on media right now is about how injured the Warriors are, how bad Curry and Clay is, how underperforming Cousins is. They need KD. Fuck that. Toronto Raptors is actually playing phenomenal basketball, and we're being overlooked. And rather than our success and our superior defense, it's more of the fail of Warriors' own succession. So let's get that, kind of mentality, get that narrative out of the way, and why we actually deserve to win.
Yeah, because let's push aside all the excuses. We are the superior team. You know what? Say what you want about not having KD. This is still the 2015 Golden State Warriors plus DeMarcus Cousins. Now let's spit out some quick facts, all right? So, Toronto Raptors have actually beaten the Golden State Warriors 13 out of the 16 quarters. The only exceptions were the third quarters for the second and third game and last night's first quarter.
Yeah, so the fact that we were able to have a positive point differentiation for 13 out of 16 times, that kind of shows something, right? That we can outplay them for most of the times. Obviously, in the third game, was it the third game? In the second game, it was an 18-0 run, but that was just like Golden State being Golden State.
Yeah, and don't forget, Golden State is historically fantastic in the third quarter. And the fact that we've held them off for 3 games, where we dominated the third quarter in particular, speaks, massive volumes. Yeah. And, sorry, you want to say something?
No, no.
Okay, so one more fact real quick is the Toronto Raptors are 5-1 against the Golden State Warriors this season and the playoff season. We actually swept the Golden State Warriors in the regular season while Kevin Durant was there as well. So, although he did drop 51 points on us that game, we still came out with the W.
Yeah, and the fact that we were the first team in many years to beat Golden State Warriors 3 times at home, that's something to be proud about as well. And in Vegas odds, if you guys are sports bettors, Toronto is the favorite to win the title, which is breaking Golden State Warriors' long-reigned streak for the odds. And that has been a total of 1,100 days.
Phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. If you have any way of saying that the Toronto Raptors are not a legitimate team and a championship team this year, honestly, at this point, you're just a Golden State Warrior homer. I don't see any way where you can take away the legitimacy of Toronto Raptors' inevitable championship.
Well, there are a lot of people who don't want to see Toronto Raptors win, and, well, I wouldn't say there's a lot of people. There are selective people who don't want to see Toronto Raptors win. There are the Golden State Warrior fans, and there are also the Spurs fans who just don't want to see Kawhi win because of what they did to the Spurs. A lot of the guys who actually are neutral fans, they see that Kawhi basically cucked the Spurs in a pretty betraying way. Obviously, as Toronto Raptors fans, before getting Kawhi, we kind of saw that drama play out as well.
Yeah, with Vince Carter.
Yeah, and we kind of understand where they're coming from. For us, we're happy the fact that he's on our team and he's slowly starting to grow on us. Or maybe he's already grown on us. We don't know. Regardless of if he stays or not, he's the best one-year rental of all time. And you know what? Even Spurs fans now, when it's coming closer to the finale, they're starting to accept. It's like the 5 stages of grief. They're at the final stage, which is just acceptance and just being happy for the fact that Toronto's finally winning something.
Yeah, and I think a lot of Memphis fans especially, are very happy for the Toronto Raptors because people love Marc Gasol down in Memphis. And even till now, they love Marc Gasol. Because don't forget, he didn't just sign away, right? He got traded over. So a lot of people from Memphis are really riding for the Toronto Raptors as well. Surge fans are riding for us. Honestly, a lot of people really, really are behind our backs this year. And I love the fact that, us as Toronto fans are saying that, the excuses that the Warriors are making are invalid for these amount of circumstances. I'm enjoying the fact that people generally across the board is validating our sentiment as well. A lot of people are saying, like, yo, quit your bullshit, Warriors. You guys have your dynasty. You guys still have all these superstars. You can't just say one person being out completely derails your run.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's like, oh yeah, you lost one All-Star. You only have 4 All-Stars left. That's like, we're just balancing the scale, right? It's the fact that KD is out to make this whole experience more competitive. It was unfair about what the Golden State Warriors did, and it was essentially kind of ruining the NBA in a sense. If the Golden State Warriors were to win, and how phenomenal the NBA season has been this year, people in the beginning of the season was like, this season is going to be shit because no matter what happens, the Golden State Warriors are just going to dominate. It's going to be like, even though there's so much competitiveness in the East with Philly, Boston, Indiana even, and the Nets and Raptors.
And the Bucks.
And the Bucks, for sure. How did I miss the Bucks? The fact that, the East is finally becoming competitive and the West is also, adding LeBron James. And there's so many new scenarios coming in. Everyone was like, but it doesn't really matter because the overarching conclusion is that the Warriors are going to win because they have 5 All-Stars. That's not the case anymore. We broke the timeline.
Yeah, we did. We really broke the timeline, and I'm so happy that we were the ones to do it. You know what? I'm not going to say I'll be downright pissed that if, let's say, the Bucks in some weird scenario were to take it, but I'm just so much more happy that, it's our time.
Yeah. It's like perfect because of the fact that, our 25th season is coming next year, and we had to endure so many years of, testament and being able to just be the end of every joke for the longest time. We're a Canadian team. We're outsiders. We are not even included in the ratings. So that's why they're saying, oh yeah, the NBA ratings have been down. Bitch, we have like 20 million people watching, and you don't count that on your fucking whatever American TV ratings.
You know what I don't like about that stat? Because that was like one of the first stats ever like dropped since game 1, right? Was that, American viewership is on an all-time low. Well, no shit. You have a whole city that's now just built by a whole different country, right? When it was like Cleveland versus Golden State Warriors, right? Or Miami versus whoever they were playing, or like for example the San Antonio Spurs. You have two major cities in the States watching, like heavily. Obviously, if you just remove one major state out of like the heavy viewership, obviously gonna take a dip in overall viewership, right? You should just compensate that for the Canadian viewership, which is at an all-time high. You have a little country now watching the game, and that's what I don't like about how like people in the media are portraying like the narrative right now. They're really trying to delegitimize it, even to this day. Now, there are still a select few that are actually saying, how legitimate the Raptors are, but I don't like how the bigwigs in the media are trying to portray this story.
No, I totally agree as well. Like the media would just do anything for a hot take, and the fact that the ratings are go down, they're just trying to be like, oh, the Raptors shouldn't be in the finals. The NBA should try and stop the Raptors from getting far because it's not good for ratings. The fact that LeBron is no longer in the East is not good for ratings. You know what? At the end of the day, as an NBA fan, this whole playoff series has been probably one of the best because of how exciting all of the matchups have been.
Oh, no, in my opinion, it's been the best.
Yeah, for sure. But then again, of course, there's relevancy bias. There's probably some more exciting back in the time. But you know what?
As Raptor fans,
this is the best
playoff of all time. Well,
it's a small sample size because we don't have that many playoff runs. But yeah, you're right.
Completely shit on all other ones. I don't give a shit. Now, what time are we at right now, Tommy?
We're close to 50 minutes.
Okay, so we wanted to talk about the future of Kevin Durant and Kawhi Leonard and what the possible outcomes are, but I think that's gonna take another like 30 to 40 minutes. So why don't we just wrap it up right now, and we'll just do it for another episode, because I'm sure you guys are also interested on our takes on what these two megastars are going to do, because they were the big pieces for the Golden State Warriors and the Raptors.
Yeah, for sure. So we'll leave it to you at that. I hope you guys enjoyed our Game 4 recap of the Toronto Raptors. Let us know if you guys prefer us to be more Raptor-centric or more NBA-centric, just because we know for the last maybe 6 episodes we're circle jerkers for the Toronto Raptors. But it's what we're passionate about.
It is. I am very free to admit I am a homer. And you know what? You can make fun of me because all you want, because we're winning a chip, baby.
Let's get it. So just remember that when the Toronto Raptors wins, Audio Huddle was there to inform you about all the takes that you needed to know.
Exactly. So again, if you still have friends trying to check in real quick for some last minute office facts, let them know. Refer back to the bandwagon episode, or if you have some fans or friends that want to know, join the high that we're receiving right now and the hype, but want more people to talk about it or just want to listen to it more consistently, tell them to check out this episode, because we're going to be doing a lot of Raptors news in the upcoming few days.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. So I guess before signing off, if you are on iTunes, please give us 5 stars. If you're on Podbean, please give us that download. If you're on Spotify, save it, play it, share it on your Instagram. Do anything, just because it's hard out there. We're struggling podcasters trying to just get some love, get some listens, baby.
Yeah, baby. Let's get it. Podbean gang, my name is Eugene.
My name is Tommy.
And again, we are just fans.
Not experts.
Ba, ba, ba. Ba, 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 ba. Raptors in 5.
Let's get it.